Malaria is the main cause of death of children under the age of 5 anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. So really, whatever you're going to do tonight, please make that call.
Please
Do
do.
what you can.
Yes.
You came here, did your thing. You can do your thing. Just pick up the telephone and do it now, because the fight against malaria goes on.
Yes, it's very...
All over Africa, 3,000 children die every day from malaria. But this is a completely preventable disease. Only 60 years ago, malaria was all over the world. It killed more people in Italy during the Second World War than bombs and bullets did. And then in the 1950s, the world decided to wipe it out. It worked in many places, but they left a bit of it, mainly in Africa. But now that bit they left kills nearly 1 million people, most of them children under 5, every year. One simple reason children die is because they don't have nets, because they sleep without nets at night, and during the night, usually after 10 p.m, a tiny mosquito comes and flies round them and settles and bites. And that, to all intents and purposes, is that life over. But if there was a net covering the little thing at night, the mosquito would never reach the skin. In places where they've got lots of nets, the drop in malaria deaths has been massive. It takes more to wipe the disease out, but if they could get nets up all over Africa, it would help save hundreds of thousands of lives.
So we know malaria is the biggest killer in Africa. Over the next hour, we are going to fight it. There are 3 simple weapons we can use in this battle. £5 buys a life-saving net, which can prevent malaria in the first place. 80p buys one of these diagnostic kits. The sooner malaria is diagnosed, the quicker it can be treated. 75p buys emergency drugs, which control the disease, so the child suffering can get to hospital.
Last year, for Red Nose Day, Gary Barlow and an intrepid gang of celebrities rose to a challenge by climbing to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro to raise money for malaria nets. That money paid for 500,000 nets, which are now keeping families safe. Sport Relief is continuing this challenge, and on a recent trip to Uganda, Gary found out that there's still a long way to go.
Nearly 1 million people die of malaria every year. 3,000 children every day. And 90% of all these tragedies happen right here in Africa. The impact of malaria in Uganda is no clearer than at Hoima Hospital, where doctors struggle to cope with the sheer volume of sick children arriving every day.
So half of your patients here are suffering with malaria?
More than 50% of our admissions here are due to malaria, and more than 50% of the deaths that you get in this ward are due to malaria and related complications.
Young children are most at risk from the deadly effects of malaria, and just before I arrived, a 1-year-old boy called Jackson was admitted in a critical condition. His mum and dad live in such a remote area, it's taken them over 2 days to get him here. His little body is burning with a fever.
We have questions.
He's anemic and dehydrated and desperately needs a drip and a blood transfusion. Both of these liquids feed directly into the veins, but Jackson is so weak that the medics are struggling to find one strong enough to support it. For nearly an hour they battle. All Mum can do is pray. Finally, the doctor finds a vein in little Jackson's head, but by now his life is hanging by a thread.
It's absolutely unbelievable what's going on in there. And this is a quiet day in that hospital. That's the frightening thing. I can read everything that's going through those parents' minds in there. I can feel it as someone who's got a child their age. And it's really horrible to see, it really is. Malaria is the biggest killer of under-5s in Uganda. Inside there is Jackson's parents, and they don't know whether he's going to live or die. The next few hours are crucial. £5 would have bought him a net to protect him from the mosquito, and 75p would have bought him emergency medicine and given him a fighting chance. So simple. 03457 910 910.
Or you can donate online at bbc.co.uk/sportrelief. Thank you.
There's more about 2 days to get him to hospital, and he was critically ill.
Jackson was admitted yesterday, close to death with malaria. His parents had travelled for 2 days to bring him here. In a desperate attempt to save his life, he was given an emergency blood transfusion. I was expecting the worst, but a wonderful sight was waiting.
Wow, he looks much better today. Fantastic.
He has regained consciousness fully, and we hope by tomorrow he'll be discharged.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? He must have landed here with seconds to spare. Bless him.
Jackson survived. Thousands don't. With your money, we can help prevent children like Jackson ever having to suffer like this. We can continue to distribute mosquito nets in the most affected areas, and we can save lives.
A net is £5, emergency life-saving medicine is 75p, the price of a loaf of bread. So come on, give us a call now. 03457 910 910.
Or you can donate online at bbc.co.uk/sportrelief. Thank you so much.
Look, the statistics are there now.